Thank you, gentlemen. What an exciting game to start out with there. Have to introduce Quas here, our resident top laner, to join us on the analyst desk, or lounge rather, for the post-game of this first game. And gentlemen, CLG coming up with a big win there. Freak, I know you liked CLG from the get-go in the pick ban there.
So I think CLG does champion select the way I want teams to do champions. Like, I think they do it properly here. They had set up the entire team comp by their second ban here. So they banned Azir, okay, normal ban. They banned Lulu, which is the only mid laner that Darius has won with on Olaf, and they banned Maokai, the only other top laner Darius is really playing. So they've already said that Darius is going to play Gnar, and Yasuo, of course, a good matchup in a Gnar, so that's already set up. Their first pick, Braum. Knock-up support. Then the next round, they grab Tristana, they grab Gragas, more knock-up. So the entire team comp is already building up before they even see the Gnar, because they already know he's going to play Gnar. Yasuo comes in, team comp comes together, beautifully played.
The funny thing about this, though, is that they are no strangers to running Gragas and Tristana anyway, and then they threw in the Yasuo. So even if it gets banned out, those are still champions that they can end up picking and executing on their composition effectively.
Now, Quas, I got to come to you, because as the resident top laner, the Gnar Yasuo matchup is one that we had heard a bunch about, seen in other regions, saw briefly here in North America, and then it disappeared. Well, it's back again, game one here in the finals in North America. What do you make of that matchup, and is TSM going to have an answer to it?
Yeah, so the matchup's really good because when Gnar is a mini Gnar, the Yasuo can always get really good trades into him. So I think it's also because Triforce has seen a lot more play lately over the IH build after the ship. So I think that's a lot better for top lane. It kind of fits more of a split pushing style. And I don't see many players do it in NA. I don't see many people being able to play the champion that well. And I think Zion did a really good job that game, showing really good mechanics in champion and making the pick really worthwhile.
Did you have the opportunity to scrim against Zion and his Yasuo?
Yes, I did not have a good time. I was trying to build armor like Darius did, and he still was able to just drum me down and kill me a lot. So.
Yeah, it was interesting. We were kind of throwing around after we saw the Randuin's pick up. Even with just a Shiv and Phage, he was still beating the Gnar. You would have thought with that completed item on the Randuin's, he might be able to handle it.
Well, keep in mind, there's a lot of magic damage on the profile. Emax is actually very typical for Yasuo. Shiv does magic damage as well. You don't have any actual attack damage yet. You actually do almost more from your Shiv than your basic attacks in the first place. So there's actually a fairly high profile. And then if you land the ult, of course, the armor shed comes in. So yeah, it's weirdly mixed damage early game, and health is the most important stat.
Now, it wasn't all the top laners, as we see TSM on your screen here, probably game planning, seeing how they're going to come back in game two, but it wasn't all the top laners. I do want to move on, Zyrene. I know we're looking at the supports a little bit in this matchup.
Yeah, both supports were extremely active during the early game. That first blood that went over to Zion Spartan was because the flank from Zion and from the flank from Aphromoo and Smithy. Aphromoo was running Lustboy around the map. They're trying to shut him down, and something that Lustboy's been doing recently, he hasn't been roaming as much. What he's been doing is he'll go mid, then he'll go back to where Wild Turtle is, and he'll hold Wild Turtle's hand during the laning phase. And that's actually seen a lot of improvement for Wild Turtle, because he gets out of the lane unscathed, he makes it to the mid game and the late game, and that was part of TSM's formula. CLG picked up on that, and Aphromoo just out-roamed Lustboy, and Xmithie was by his side. Xmithie had a great game. His barrels were on point, his ultimates for the first half of the game were just game-changing ultimates, and the fact that he was alongside those roaming squads really made a good early game for CLG, and that's what they need to succeed.
You know, on top of this, we talked about double lift's going to be a big role in CLG winning today on that really comfortable Tristana here today.
Yeah, he's 6-0 on Tristana this season. I feel like you need to take that champion away from him. It's self-sufficient. It gets them turrets very early on, and they knock them down. When they hit their little kind of roughs patch, he picked up Tristana, and that's when they started to hit their stride and come into playoffs in this shape.
And this is where I want to come back to you, Quas. As a person who's been in the best-of-5 scenario, how does a team react to what you've seen in the pick ban of Game 1? Because these were teams that scrimmed each other a lot, had a lot of information about each other, and then went dark for a week. Right, so now they're getting new information. What do you do in that huddle with only so much time to figure out what your game plan is going to be for Game 2?
Right, so usually, like you said, you study for what they see from teams, and you go into the best-of-5 with set bans, and then according to how the games go, you drop certain bans. So I think they might definitely need to ban the Tristana or the Yasuo maybe. So I think they'll just have to see what they're banning and then see what would affect them less if the enemy team got. And you definitely have to be able to adapt to be able to win the games. Yeah.
Well, they have a little bit more time to adapt while TSM and CLG prepare for Game 2. We're excited to share a sneak peek at the latest from the team behind the 2014 documentary series Road to Worlds. Here now is a look at Legends Rising.